What's up everybody, Alex you with the Ragin Ronin review. Literally, I just got back from watching Thor and I watched it in 3D in the Ultra AVX theater. What that means for all you don't know is that they renovated the regular theaters for this new cinematic experience called Ultra AVX. What it means is the state-of-the-art sound, wall-to-wall, ceiling-to-floor screen, and the larger rocker seats, like we can just rock back and forth. And the best part is reserved seating. That way you don't have to wait for so long in the lineup. You pay a little bit more, but that's okay. Now let's talk about Thor. Let's start with the good stuff. Chris Hemsworth, best choice for Thor. I mean, he was literally Thor. And that's what's so great about him, man. That's the first thing I noticed as soon as he started talking, is that this guy really carries what Thor represents. The next thing is that the visuals are pretty awesome. Asgard was just captured so beautifully. It's such an immersive experience, especially when it's in 3D when you're in Asgard, because of course the environment's all CG, therefore they could do whatever they want with it, and they made it just so stunning, so beautiful. Those are some of the greater scenes in the movie. Like, the sets are just incredible. And then for the scenes where Thor is on Earth, it kind of slows down a bit, but not to the point where you feel that, you know, when will something happen? When he's on Earth, it's actually, we're just learning more about the character. We learn more about Thor when he's on Earth because Natalie Portman gets close to him. I think I like that it was a kind of a fish out of water story. When Thor comes to Earth, he doesn't really know what is going on. He does realize that it is another realm, as he calls it, but what makes it great is that you see what it's like for a god, the god of thunder, to walk around in the shoes of a human, a mortal. And you see what that's like for him, and it's pretty funny. Director Kenneth Branagh, he combines action with sci-fi with comedy. It's just like, it's got that Iron Man kind of feel, because Tony Stark is kind of quirky and funny in that way. So he added those elements in it, and it has that Marvel superhero movie feel to it. And what's really cool is that they're starting to link more of the Avengers elements into it. This isn't a spoiler or anything, but I'm sure you would all know that S.H.I.E.L.D. makes an appearance in it because we saw that in Iron Man 2 and of course the first Iron Man. So they're pretty dominant in this movie as well. The S.H.I.E.L.D. elements actually make the story more interesting because we all know what that's building up to. Now for the bad. The main thing, I guess, is that I wish it didn't end. You know what? I wanted more. I wanted a little bit more. Maybe a half hour of more Asgard. That would have worked. Maybe even 20 minutes, because the best scenes were on Asgard. That battle with the frost giants and Thor and his team of other gods is just epic. I felt like how I felt when I watched Lord of the Rings. You were just transported to another world. You're just in awe of all these amazing, fantastic visuals. And although we got a lot of it, I just wanted more. The final battle on Earth was cool, but just for as long as it lasted. It was kind of short. It could have been more, but of course it was just to build up for what happens afterwards on Asgard. Oh yeah, and I also like the actor that played Loki. I think he looked exactly like what I would have thought Loki would have looked like in the movie. They really stayed true to the costume elements and the use of Mjolnir, his hammer. I liked what they did with it, and it really shows that Thor isn't just about some brute with a hammer and just, you know, thump, 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 thump. It wasn't like that at all. We saw all his different skills with the hammer and his capabilities as a god. So that was captured perfectly. It's definitely worth checking out, but I'm gonna have to say that although the 3D is really awesome in the Asgard scenes, it doesn't quite work on Earth. Thor was post-converted. It wasn't the best conversion job. In some parts it looks good, some parts it's just kind of sloppy. You can really tell because sometimes you lift up your glass and you put it back on and you just think, is it actually 3D? It doesn't look as sharp as it could be. And another thing is that, you know, when you put on 3D glasses, the first thing we notice is the light loss. In the battle between the frost giants and Thor and his buddies, it's a very dark scene, so although it was a very exciting scene, it could have been a little brighter. So on a technical aspect, the 3D wasn't as great as it could be. So I would probably watch it in 2D. So what do I say about this? Thor was a good movie, but if I had to compare it with all the other Marvel movies, I guess the best thing to compare it with is Iron Man. And I'd have to say that I gave Iron Man an 8.5, maybe even a 9 actually. I would have to give Thor a 7.75, like a really very close to being an 8, because it actually has a good story. The movie is actually very good. So, like I said, I give it a 7.75, very close to an 8 out of 10. Check it out in the theater. Don't wait for rental. Check it out in the theater. It has its moments. It's definitely a very entertaining movie. Iron Man's 1 is still one of the better superhero movies, but we'll see after I watch Captain America. Anyways, this is Alex Yu, and thanks for watching the Ragin Ronin review. Peace.